notes are going to be on section 3.7, perpendicular lines. If you can go ahead and pause this video to do these 2 warm-up questions, and then when you unpause it, I will have them done. So in the first example, it says find the value of the x. So here, these 2 angles are vertical angles. So you see here, I'm highlighting it right now. I added that tick mark there. Since they're vertical angles, we know that they're going to be congruent, so we can set the 2 expressions equal to each other. So here, we have x plus 16 equals 4x minus 5. I added 5 to the other side, which cancels it out here. And then I went ahead and solved for x. So we got x equals 7. Example we had here, we were given, and I'll actually erase this here. So all we were given was this 90-degree symbol, right? Or the right angle symbol. So since we know that's the right angle symbol, that angle is 90 degrees. And we also know that this one here will also then be 90 degrees. So I went ahead and did 6x plus 2 plus 40 equals 90. I added 2 and 40, so I got 42. Subtracted that over, and we got 48. X will then equal 8 when we divide. Okay, so going off to here, today we're going to talk about those perpendicular lines. So perpendicular, that is going to, whenever you see the notation of an upside down T, that's going to tell you we have perpendicular lines. Okay, so just looking at the picture, and we'll talk about the angle in a second, you have 2 lines intersecting. We have line M and line N. When those 2 lines intersect, that is what we call, well, when they intersect, and they intersect so perfectly that they intersect at a right angle. So here we have, if two lines are perpendicular, if and only if they intersect, their intersection forms a right angle. And notice here is IFF, this is the if and only if. So that means we can say perpendicular lines implies right angles. Then we can also say right angles implies perpendicular lines. Okay, so going to the next example that we have here, we're going to talk about this. So it says here, if 2 lines are perpendicular, then they intersect to form 4 right angles here. And so you'll see we have perpendicular lines implies 4 right angles. Okay, so we know that this will be a right angle. We know this will be a right angle. This is a right angle. This is a right angle. I will never draw a box because it looks very confusing. I'll usually just write one of them there. But whenever you have the 2 lines intersect, it'll make all 4 of those right angles. And then we know right angles implies 90 degrees. So then we can say all of those are equal to 90 degrees. Okay, let's go ahead and do an example here. So it says, determine if the given statement is true or false. If false, provide a reasoning. And this is something that we have to make sure that we are doing. I'm noticing even on that last test, we would say something was false, but didn't say why. So looking here, it says the measure of angle 4 and 1, when we add them, equals 180. So let's take a look. The measure of angle, I'm actually going to do this here. So the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 4 equals 180. Well, first of all, to be able to say if that's true or false, we're talking about the actual number, so we need to know what they equal. So angle 1, we know for sure is 90 degrees because we have this right angle symbol. Well, we know BGE is 90 degrees, so then this whole thing would be 90, but we don't know what angle 4 is. So this is for sure false because we don't know. Technically, we would have to say the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 3 equals 180. We could totally say that because if we had 4 and 3 here, we could absolutely say, well, I don't necessarily need to know what 4 is or 3, but I do know that that whole angle FGB is going to be 90 degrees. Okay, the next statement here for B, it says the measure of angle 1 equals 90. Oh, absolutely right. We already determined that in the last one, so that is true. And then we have here this guy. So it's saying the segments EF, and I'm actually going to erase what I have here. So segments I'm actually not going to use blue over blue. So EF and BG. So BG are perpendicular. Is that true or false? So taking a look here, we are given this right angle symbol, right? We have a little box in the corner. So we can absolutely say that those are perpendicular because we know if that has the one right angle, then of course our other ones here are going to be right angle as well. Okay, next we have here the measure of angle AGE. The measure of angle AGE, so AGE, and the measure of angle 3 are, oh, okay, so this is actually saying this angle is less than this one here. Okay, so it's less than angle 3. Well, we know that AGE, right, AGE is a right angle because we got this guy here. So that's equal to 90 degrees, is less than the measure of angle 3. Well, once again, we know that angle 4 plus the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 3 will equal 90, but we don't know what 3 is. It's going to definitely be less than 90 degrees. So is 90 degrees less than the measure of angle 3, right? And we don't actually know what that one equals. No, absolutely not. That's false. We would need to know exactly what the measure of angle 3 was. What we do know is if we had the measure, actually we couldn't even say that. We could technically, what would be true is if it was the measure of angle AGE is greater than the measure of angle 3. That's true, right? Okay, next example and the final example. It says the measure of angle 1 and find measure of angle 1 and measure of angle 2. So 1 and 2. If our segments AC and BD are perpendicular. We know the measure of angle 1 is 8x minus 2, and the measure of angle 2 is 16x minus 4. So I'm going to go ahead and write that in. So we have 8x minus 2, and we have 16x minus 4, right? And this is for this angle here, and this one is this one there. Okay, so AC, our segment AC is perpendicular to BD. And I want you to think for a second, if those are perpendicular, what do we know about all of the angles here, right? We have right angles, so that's a right angle. This is also a right angle. So we can do the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 equals to 90 degrees because of those perpendicular lines. So we have 8x minus 2 plus 16x minus 4 equals 90 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and combine our like terms. So 8 plus 16, we get 24x. Negative 2 minus 4 minus 6 equals 90. I'm going to add 6 plus 6. So we get 24 equals 96. 96, oh, that's a 24x. 96 divided by 24. Let me make that a little bit nicer. So we're going to get x equals 4. Okay, now the question didn't ask for x. It asked us to find the measure of the angles. So I'm going to go ahead. I know the measure of angle 1, we're going to do 8 times 4 minus 2. So 8 times 4, we get 32 minus 2. We're going to get 30 degrees. And then this guy here is going to be 16 times 4 minus 4. And that's going to be, not 24, that's going to be 64 minus 4. And then we'll get 60 degrees. Now to check, if I do 30 plus 60, that equals 90 degrees. Awesome. All right, and there you have it.